Good morning. My name is Susanna. This is my adventure journal. Today I am doing the Cottonwood-Marble Canyon loop in Death Valley National Park. It's sort of a tear-shaped loop. Obviously it goes through Cottonwood Canyon, then out into a valley, and back down in Marble Canyon to create sort of a teardrop shaped loop. The road to get out to the parking area is interesting. It's a high clearance road, and some places has soft sand, but I still see people get their sedans, which I don't recommend. It's scary enough with me with my high clearance two-wheel drive, but people do it. And what I'm doing right now is I'm walking the high clearance four-wheel drive road to that start. So if you don't have four-wheel drive, it's an extra 2 miles both to start and to end, because you've got to hike to the four-wheel drive spot. But situated right on the edge of Death Valley in the Mesquite Flats area. So let me turn around because we got a nice sunrise going on. So over here is Death Valley. I'm not sure if you can see it in the distance, but you probably can't zoom in on the phone. But Mesquite Dunes and the little village of Stovepipe Wells are right where I'm pointing the camera. And then you have this nice flat area, and there's actually some snow in the mountains over there. It did rain last night. And what I'm doing is I'm heading, trying not to get me in the shot, I'm heading, impossible right now, towards this little opening in the mountains. And it's a little opening that will lead to 2 openings. Oh my goodness, I have never seen this before. Well, there's a little bit of cloud there, but that's not all clouds, that's snow. This is kind of looking towards the Marble Canyon side. It did rain last night. I have never seen snow up there. Hopefully there's not snow along the route, because I'm not fully prepared for that. But this is the exit to the mini canyon, and next up will be the pointy spot on the teardrop shaped loop, where if you have four-wheel drive you can park your car for this hike. So after exiting that mini canyon, you turn left for maybe about a mile, maybe a little less, and you'll get to this junction right here. You can see there's a sign in front of me. This is the split for Cottonwood and Marble. So Marble Canyon is off this way. Looks like it's just left of the snow. So thankfully I don't think there will be snow on my route. And then, so that was to the right. And then to the left is Cottonwood. See, there's some cars parked here. I think to the right of this road is some space to park the cars as well. But I usually like to do, you can go either way. I usually like to do Cottonwood first, just because it's like wash to get to the canyon. It's a little longer, and I'd like to just get it out of the way. I think those signs actually say directions, or at least used to. Maybe they used to. Anyway, this is the way to Cottonwood, and this is the way I'm going to be going. Look at the light on those walls. The desert is so beautiful in the early morning. I'm maybe about 2 miles down the wash from the four-wheel drive parking area. It's hard to tell because GPS doesn't really work that well in here, but this is what it's going to look like for, I don't know, at least 4 more miles. And so I'm going to put the camera away and pick it up again when I hit Cottonwood Canyon, the four-wheel drive parking lot. For that, you can see tire tracks. This is actually a road, so if you're just exploring Cottonwood Canyon, you can drive right up to Cottonwood Canyon. But if you're doing the loop, you should park back at that other parking area. But Cottonwood-Marble Canyon Loop is the most popular backpacking route in Death Valley, and I'm going to call it a route because that's what most of Death Valley backpacking is. There might be a little bit of trail here and there, but it's mostly a route. So most people don't know that, and they come in here, and even though this is the most popular route, they still get lost. It took me 2 times to actually find the right path. But then again, I think it was either my 2nd or 3rd time backpacking ever that I tried this, and I don't suggest that. So my biggest piece of advice when doing this trail is don't follow footprints. Some of them are going to know where they're going. There's a whole lot that don't know where they're going. So along this route, I'll try to point out areas that are a little tricky or where people get lost. Occasionally you will see flagging or cairns to show you the way, but throughout most of this, there is not a nice manicured trail. So about 4 more miles of this, and unless I see something interesting or a cool animal or something, that's where we will pick it up. I'm actually still on the road coming in, but you can see the canyon is narrowing in spots. So it does narrow before the road ends, and as you can see over here, every once in a while I'm getting little bushes of these yellow wildflowers. I still have not learned my yellow wildflowers yet, so I don't know which ones they are. But it is springtime, and it's kind of fun to see any kind of flower blooming in the desert, because this is a very hot and dry area, so it's not really a good place for flowers to grow. So it's always special to see desert blooms, because they have to work so hard in order to survive and bloom in the first place. So another thing to point out, since we're still on the road, I forgot about this part, but I want to mention it, is it kind of forks right here. It's still technically the road part of the canyon, but I don't know if you can see, this canyon has a little green marker. When I first came through, I saw those things and I thought they were trail markers. So I went to follow that. That will lead you up to a dead end or up a different canyon. That's not where we want to go. So the green markers mark wilderness, and they're to keep the cars from driving over them. So hang left at that fork. So as you can see, we've gotten to part of the canyon that gives the canyon its name. We've gotten to where the cottonwoods have just started to show up. I am still on this road. I remember this road being long, but oh my gosh. And I remember it being almost all awash. It's actually got some nice windy stuff. I didn't really do too much filming in the narrows because the cool narrows are in Marble Canyon, but it's noon. According to my GPS, I've only almost gone like about 11 miles. There's a nice shaded spot right here under this beautiful cottonwood tree. I'm gonna stop for lunch right here. Let's see, I don't know if you can see out the canyon because we've got cottonwoods now, but that's been a pretty good steady incline. I think I've gone definitely over 2,000 feet in elevation, and it's kind of gradual so you don't notice it, but my legs are feeling like they climbed a couple thousand feet. So I think I'm really, really close to this end, but I've also thought that around a few bends of the canyon ago. So lunchtime under the cottonwood. So of course, that's that tree where I just couldn't take it any longer and sat down and had lunch. And look what was right around the corner. The wilderness boundary. So this is where the road ends. So I stopped for lunch in the correct place. So wilderness reclamation, foot traffic only. And guess what? I have feet. Oh, look at all those cottonwoods back there. That's cool. All right, so starting the foot traffic section. And I guess it starts kind of right where the cottonwoods start. They're green now too. They look really pretty. Got a little bit of a low ridge right here, but moving through a second strand of cottonwoods. And in this section there is a trail, and for the most part the trail skirts around the cottonwoods. That will be an important feature coming up for the last set of cottonwoods. Documenting this because I want to, A, it's pretty, and B, I want to show what the rest of Cottonwood Canyon looks like. I know on my last video set I basically showed only where the springs and water were, and that's not what the entire trail looked like. I have a feeling kind of doing the same thing with the cottonwoods here. So this is another stretch in between cottonwood strands and still waiting for that big one. And the reason it's big is because it's near Cottonwood Springs, which is the most reliable spring. I think I see some yellow wildflowers on the cliff over there too, like way over there behind that rock. But it produces a lot of water regularly, and so that's where all the plant life is. It's amazing what happens in the desert when you just add a little bit of water. Everything just kind of explodes. And up here looks like that hill of wildflowers I saw from way back there. This is impressive for the desert. There's actually a whole bunch of little yellow flowers dotting this hillside here. Again, that's really impressive for the desert. There have been a whole bunch of tiny ones. I don't know if they come out on camera, so I haven't really been focusing on it. It's just been a variety of tiny wildflowers too. But yeah, you don't see this a lot in the desert, so that's pretty cool. Okay, at my third set of cottonwoods. This is the lengthy one. This is the confusing one too. So right as you hit those first cottonwoods, my advice is keep right. Keeping right will take you to the trail that leads you uphill, because you're going to be going around the cottonwoods. And it's a mess because there's a lot of camping in here. So there's a lot of social trails, which are created just from people walking to and from either campsites or to and from water sources. And there is a trail that goes left. It looks like a real trail, and there's little bridges across the water crossings, and even all along that other side of the canyon there is a false trail. There's a couple of false trails on the right side too, but when you hit the third set, go up. And it's very confusing, and I know because I went left again. It looks like a real trail. I don't know if you can see it through here. It looks like a real legit trail going through there, but that's the wrong side of the canyon. You need to come up and go around the cottonwoods, because the cottonwoods and the other vegetation in there are incredibly thick. And I know this because the first time I tried to do this trail, I literally threw myself against the vegetation in order to try to force my way through it. I'm not even kidding. I was like throwing myself. Doesn't work. You gotta go around them. So third set, don't be lured by those other trails and those other campsites. Go right and go uphill. Now further down, I noticed there's a very, very steep, sketchy trail uphill. I think it's made from people who realize you're supposed to be up here instead of down there. So this is a long stretch of cottonwoods. Gonna be skirting around it from the top, eventually going down and crossing over to the other side, and then out. Cottonwoods for days, and so much easier to walk on this path up and around them instead of trying to force your way through them. There is some nice camping down there, and just before it, and right at the transition from road to foot trail, and pretty much anywhere where the cottonwoods are, there's actually some really nice camp spots. But if you want to exit the canyon, you got to go up and around. And since you're not bushwhacking, this part of the trail where you drop back down into the cottonwoods comes really quickly. Way quicker than if you were bushwhacking or trying to take those false trails on the opposite side. So do yourself a favor, go to the right and go up and around them. I'm going to cross over the little stream. The spring seems to be flowing real well today. It's way past the first set of cottonwoods, so plenty of water. I'm gonna head all the way out closer to the source and then pick up some more water. Victory! Oh, that was tough. When you cross the creek to the other side, left-hand side if you're going out, trail's in rough condition. Just FYI, this trail leads you to another canyon where your car is not parked. So you want to go right. Trail was in rough condition. It's on a very steep slope that has been washed out, and it's a lot of loose gravel and sand, and it doesn't look like there's a place to put your foot most of the time, but there is. So you just gotta do that carefully. Oh, and there's a rock scramble at one point. But I highly recommend downloading the All Trails app. That's all ALL Trails, because somebody has logged this loop, and you can check their GPS points against where you are and make that decision. All right, so I'm gonna keep going right at all these splits, because this way is Marble Canyon. That way is not. So keep right. So once you come over that hill, you're gonna go right back down it. You see where there's green down there? That's where the water is. This is probably the best water access as soon as you come over that hill and you go down. I just filled up, so I'm gonna keep moving on. Last time I felt like there was more access because there's lots of camping spots here, but you can see a lot of dead vegetation in there. And I'm not sure if that's a fire or something else, but I tried a couple other access points and you can't make your way through that dead stuff. So that first source is where you want to fill up, or you can fill up before you exit the canyon because you're going to be crossing. So after that, just got to make way out to the valley and just figure out a path. A lot of these are horse paths because wild horses live in this valley and they come down to drink from the spring. But just got to make your way past the cottonwood trees that are here, and I think you can see it. Ugh, I hate to climb. There's a hill that kind of comes down like this. Gonna make your way to that point, and around that point to the right, and that's the valley we head up to link up with the Marble Canyon. So again, find a way around the cottonwoods and find a way at the valley. So I'm pretty sure this is where actual trail stops, and you're just making your way from point to point. So I rounded the point. It was a little bit of an obstacle course to get around the point. It's funny, I made that comment about footsteps earlier. The footsteps that are in the sand right now have been pretty spot on for most of the trail. Can't trust all of them though. And here it's just straightforward. I'm gonna be moving up a wash to, I think, this dip right here. I think that's the pass I'm going over. It'll be a little bit more obvious when I get closer, but pretty simple, pretty boring. Just heading up this unnamed valley, and the two passes that I will be going over probably tomorrow, this one being the first one, are where people have trouble on this route. Clearly I have trouble with the cottonwoods, but other people have trouble with the passes. So I'll try to identify them as best as possible. Remember how I said there were wild horses in this valley? Here they are, and they are incredibly close. Looks like there's a mom and a baby over here too. They're really pretty. I've heard about them. I've definitely seen evidence of them being here. Hello. I've never actually seen them before. So this is a cool first for me. I'm just hoping to make it up the wash without being kicked or bitten, especially by Mom and her baby over here. So here's the pass. Here's the first pass connecting the valley to the canyons we want to go to. And yeah, I'm breathing hard because I've been hiking uphill for a long time. But it's that same pass I pointed out. Honestly, if you look at the right side of the valley, it's the lowest point. It's, if you were to look at this entire range and be like, where's a good place to cross? That would be the place. So this is looking back at the valley I just walked, and way down there past that little hill is Cottonwood Canyon. So I just walked all the way up there and still have some daylight left. So I am gonna attempt this pass. It's Not the best thing to do at the end of a long day, but I think there's some decent campsites on the other side. And decent, I mean, there are some. I've tried camping on this side of the pass before, and it's been very uncomfortable. But if you also need another sign, this pile of rocks points you up to the pass that you need to go to. And this is what it looks like on the other side of the pass. You can see all the way down to the valley floor of Death Valley, which is pretty cool. So I'm going to drop into this canyon, and right before the pass, which is going to be kind of to the left here, into Marble Canyon. Oh, it's Dead Horse Canyon first and then Marble Canyon. There should be some camping spots. So kind of like right at the bottom of this hill is where I'm heading. But there is a camping spot up here. I'm standing on it right now. I imagine it's kind of windy though. And that's looking back at the other side of the pass. Okay, headed down. Alright, I'm all set up for the night. Underneath that pass I just came down. And it's not the best campsite in the world, but at least it's not on pokey things. And I think just around the corner here is the turn to go to the second pass, which is a trickier pass, but that's for tomorrow when I am rested and fed. Whew. So that's it for day one of the Cottonwood-Marble Canyon loop, and it was quite a day. I do recommend splitting this into 3 days. I have to leave tomorrow, so I'm squishing this all into 2. But tomorrow I'm going to go over the second pass, which is where everyone gets lost. Everyone who's not me. I get lost in the cottonwoods. And then, drop down into Dead Horse Canyon, and then the beautiful Marble Canyon with the really pretty narrows. And then somewhere in there is an 8-foot dry fall, so I have to navigate that. And then out and back into Death Valley. So that's it for tomorrow.